I'm going to look for people potentially might look like me or have been through my own experiences. One thing I've always encouraged people to do is just be the best version of yourself.
So tell me about your sporting background then. So from a young age, you said you played lots of sports. Which sports did you play?
So many. I was very fortunate. I felt like I had a God-given ability to do anything, could do it really well very quickly.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a cheat code, if I'm being honest. And when you're good at sports in school, you're kind of one of the popular kids, aren't you?
Yep.
So it's always been fun. So I had the speed.
Yeah.
And when you have speed and you can jump, you can probably play most sports. Mm-hmm. So you know what happens. Go to the football field, the coach sees you, oh, put him up front.
Yeah. Or in a wing.
Or in the wing. Or at the back.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed football, had a really good career at football actually. Never made it to the academy level, but with counties, Essex, my district,
Yeah.
really good. But then of course the speed and the jumping ability helped me with basketball because I wasn't the tallest in the world, but I had a really good career at basketball as well.
Yeah.
Reserve, England men's, under 18s, but the main one was probably athletics.
Yeah.
Because that one, you haven't got to rely on anyone else. You run, you jump, and you go.
Yeah. What, before going to athletics, what position did you play in? Did you play up front?
I played up front,
Yeah.
played at the back as well. It was interchangeable, let's call it that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was really, really funny. Depends on what happened during the game where I was playing. If they needed to keep it tight at the back, then I'm at the back. If we needed to score some goals, then I go up front. But it was quite special actually. Growing up in East London, very competitive place.
Not far from here?
No, not a million miles actually. There's a 97 bus
Okay.
that stops over there that goes right to my house.
I used to get that.
Yes, there you
Yeah, I
go.
used to get that. I know that bus. No, I think it's. I think having those sporting experiences from a young age, it's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you feel that taught you, just from being in sporting environments from a young age? Not in sales or anything, but just as a person now.
Do you know what? I'm really spoiled by sport, if I'm honest with you. So my older sister, she's an Olympian.
Yeah.
Funny, she ran 100 meters, was a British record holder over 60 meters,
Yeah.
a world silver medalist. Sport, especially at an elite level, teaches you everything you need to know about life. If I think about my own journey, it taught me more so around resilience. I didn't reach the heights of what my sister reached. Had all the potential, all the talent. My body, unfortunately, let me down in a few different areas. And going through an Achilles rupture on the left, an Achilles rupture on the right,
Yeah.
a rec fem tear on my left, a very recent rec fem tear on my right.
Another one.
Unbelievable, playing football.
Yeah.
But I've been through it. And it's taught me the resilience of having to kind of get up
Yeah.
time after time to go and do something and be somebody. And it was literally everything for me at one point.
Yeah.
But the way the body behaved and what happened to my body, we had to let it go.
Had to change. What was that like growing up in a house where your sister was, I guess, achieving things that you wanted to achieve?
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what I always think?
Yeah.
When I see a footballer who's the better one and the other one's playing down the leagues.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always think, what's that must be like when
Yeah.
when you go around for Christmas dinner and and you got the guy
Yeah.
and then the kind of the guy.
Yeah,
I'm not
listen.
saying that was the case with you.
Listen,
but
I'm happy to be kind of the guy to the Olympian, I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah.
It's even more interesting because I've got a younger guy,
Yeah.
girl, my little sister Chelsea. So she saw Jeanette and myself get injured and the rest of it,
Yeah.
and she chose a different path.
Yeah.
But she became a lawyer. She also is an author, and she released a book under Murky Books, bestseller on Amazon. So I've got these two incredible women on either side of me, this amazing Olympian sister, and this incredible author, first
Yeah.
black woman to get history at first at Cambridge.
Well, yeah, I remember you selling me that
Yeah.
article, yeah.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Yeah.
So growing up in that household, you would think, oh, this might get a little bit competitive
Yeah.
or a bit testy.
Yeah.
But when I say, as a trio, the biggest fans you could ever wish for.
Love that.
And I think a lot of that goes down to the way that mother and father looked after us when we was kids. The way they kind of built us, the values they instilled in us, are all things I took into sport and obviously now into business that all three of us have taken to be successful.
Yeah. Your introduction to athletics, you just spoke about. I know the story, but to remind me of the story. So how did you get into athletics? Because at this time you're not in athletics, you're playing.
No, I'm doing everything else. I'm
basketball,
doing
football.
football, having fun, studying, meant to be studying, probably paying more attention to sport.
Yeah.
But this was a really funny one where my sister and her friend were in the car, and I was in the back, 97 bus, and I needed to get to a place called Walthamstow in East London.
Yeah.
And where we was in the car and where the bus was, I was not going to make it by them dropping me to the stop.
Yeah.
So I jumped out the car and I went bang. And I was running so fast
Yeah.
that people had seen me get out of the car, make this bus, which I had no right in making, and said to my sister and her friend, who the heck is this kid?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Don't get me wrong, my sister and her friend, they knew I was quick. I'd obviously done athletics as a kid and the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I think it was just a reminder of like, okay, cool, there's some wheels here. The week after, they put me in a pair of spikes.
Yeah.
They sent me down to the South of England Championships at Brunel University.
Yeah.
And I'm running against the best kids in the country. And I didn't do too bad. I made the semi-final, 6th fastest time of the 60 meters at the time.
Wow.
I was a terrible starter. I didn't know how to get out of the blocks.
What was your technique like? Because you hadn't had any specific training.
Rubbish.
Just quick though.
Just go.
Just gifted.
Yeah, just go.
Yeah.
So I picked up and I just went.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bad thing because I met a few amazing people there. Harry, Simeon, a few others as well, Danny Doyley, some really great athletes at the time.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning. The next week, I met another coach, the late great Lloyd Cowan, fantastic coach. He coached people like Christina Hurugu and those individuals at Mile End. Went and trained with him, and then you found me at the national championships a couple of weeks later, in which I did the 60 meters and 200 meters, made both semi-finals there, and the journey began.
That. Such a unique story. Ready for a bus.
That's still not changed to this day.
Right, we've done.
Nice one.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll trap bar deadlifts because you've been doing them, haven't you?
Yep.
Cool. What weight are you thinking?
Let's go as heavy as you
See how
can
we
go.
go.
Heavy.
Front foot elevated split squat. You might not have done this one before, but
Not as heavy.
I've been doing it. I've been doing it in my training, so I'm going to be a little bit selfish and because I haven't trained legs this week, so I'm going to throw that in.
Cool.
Bench press, as we know, we'll go quite heavy on that.
Cool.
With 5 reps. Then a little bit of a back finisher, gorilla rows, which is one of my favorites, and then an inverted row, which is just doing pull-ups within the rack with the bar.
Yep.
And then we'll finish off with this WOD.
One, two.
So Lou, you touched on it on the bike.
Yeah.
The Achilles injuries.
Yeah.
So you've got injured. What do you do now?
It's tough. So, left one, probably see the line.
Yeah.
Awful event. University champs, shaping my life. Racing some top athletes. Jogged my heat, absolutely jogged it. Got to the semi-final, felt amazing. Came around the bend in the lead. So I was like, this is it. Shaping my life, I'm coming. Bend. I felt presence around me.
People catching up.
I was like, why are your people catching me?
Yeah.
This is my part of the race. Shoot up in the sky, hear a massive clap, bang, on the floor, wake up in hospital.
Well, you went out cold
Cold, on the floor,
because of the pain.
pain. What had happened, I had ruptured the Achilles tendon. So anyone that's done that before knows it sounds like a gunshot when it goes off. But as I said, I was really lucky. I had elite people around me. Really lucky. They looked after me, rehab, masseuse, the whole team. Got me up and running again. I started going again within a year. Kept on going. Made it to the Amsterdam Grand Prix, where a season's best came fourth in the Grand Prix. 2 weeks later with the Loughborough International. Last training session before the big race, we're doing some speed work. Came around the bend again, in great shape. Confidence is back. I then stumble, gunshot. I have now done my right Achilles, and I've also done my right hamstring.
Yeah.
It was a really tough one, because all of that ability, all of that potential, twice now,
Yeah.
kiss of death, done. Weirdly, I tried to go again.
Yeah.
But I did finish Loughborough. I rehabbed that one even quicker than 9 months when I trained with an amazing coach called Daniel Plummer. So Daniel, I got his time. I knew Daniel from years before. He had trained with my sister, so he gave me the love. Got into really good shape again, but I've got no Achilles tendons, but I'm still able to run and do these amazing things. Technically, I probably shouldn't be able to walk right now, but I'm not gonna say too much. But we got to my next race, my first race back since, and it was the slowest 100 meters I've ever run in my life. I won the race, but I didn't even feel like I came out of first or second gear. And it wasn't me not trying to, mentally, I just couldn't. And that was the end.
Yeah.
Track was done. after all of these injuries, after all the stress and strain, what happens next?
Yeah.
And this is the next part of the journey.
We'll come on to what happens next after this set. So, but I think that journey is like, it's painful.
hard.
Like it sounds painful.
Hard.
But I think like hearing about other things, and we'll get on to what else you've done in your career, it makes sense why you've gone on to achieve what you have.
Thank you.
Because of those setbacks, so I respect it. Yeah, so the next chapter, I guess, was sales.
Yeah.
Why sales?
Do you know what it was? You go from athletics, which is sport. The most logical thing to do after that is health and fitness. So I joined a company called Virgin Active. I laugh because the story there is incredible. But I started to sell gym membership.
Yeah.
At the time, it hasn't got the best reputation in the world, all right? You're working in the gym, you're selling memberships. But I loved it. I loved everything about it. And Virgin Active, or Virgin as a company, their training plan, flawless.
For salespeople.
Oh, for everybody,
Okay.
including salespeople. And I guess it's a lesson to a lot of organizations. When you're onboarding and your training plan is so solid, it just starts a whole new journey for people. And I remember going in there, I could talk, I had a bit of charisma, I knew health and fitness, but they brought it all together. So I'm eternally grateful for what they did for me, actually. Worked in a Holloway, which is in North London, but I did really well there, to the point where they moved me from Holloway to Mayfair. Couldn't get more opposing places, if I'm honest with you. But I led sales at Holloway, Mayfair, top sales consultant, finished again month after month in really great positions, became a manager. That's what companies do, isn't it? The best performer becomes a manager. Then I became a manager at placed in Regent's Park, which is not too far from Euston. Led that team to national titles, more awards, great consultants underneath me, sell. To the point where I was then going to move across to their flagship, Virgin Active in Barbican. And a big lesson I had to learn here, because I actually got fired in the end.
Yeah.
Because
Why?
I made a really silly joke. And looking back in hindsight, you know, just these things have taught me so many lessons. But I played in an April Fool's prank, not knowing that there was an NDA signed for the exact thing I was joking about with my colleagues. Unfortunately, it escalated to the point where in a week, I went from being the top individual at the company to someone who no longer works there.
When they found out what you did,
Yeah.
did you ever think you was going to get fired?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I thought I was untouchable.
Yeah.
I thought I was untouchable. I was making the company money.
Yeah.
Everyone was really good fans. We were really good friends. I thought, okay,
Yeah.
slap on the wrist here. But I didn't realize the gravity of what had happened. It moved with such pace that seniors in the organization who were my fans and who were good colleagues of mine didn't actually know what was going on. So when they found out at the end that I had been let go, that caused a whole nother issue for them internally.
Yeah.
But by that time, I'd already gone. Learned a really tough lesson. And it was actually at the same time where my wife at the time was pregnant with our first child.
Wow.
So I've gone through all of this madness. But again, the resilience and just learning to get on with things when it's not going your way, coming from the sporting background, got me on with it. And I guess one of the most important things for me at that time was just the networks and relationships I had built. So I wasn't unemployed for a long time because I was obviously good at my craft. I know of a company called Pure Gym, which was up and coming at the time, pretty big now.
So when was this?
This is back in like 2013, 2016.
It's a new concept, wasn't it?
Yeah, new concept came out of nowhere. The COO used to work for Virgin Active, heard I was available instantly, and he said, give me a call. I would like you to come and join our firm. I joined there, and I joined their biggest gym at the time, which was in Oval, South London, managing 6,000 members.
Wow.
So I've gone from this journey at Virgin Active, super successful, didn't end in the best way, but now I've been elevated immediately into this position because of the network and things I had at the time.
Yeah.
It went really well. I wasn't there for long, but it went really well. Really drove that organization forward.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of my time there. Again, I was a super young guy at the time, maybe 24, 25 at that time. I've been in gym since 21, 22, and I'm now the general manager.
Yeah.
I'm running this entire gym, 6,000 members, 30 PTs, assistant managers that are twice my age, taught me all these things.
Yeah.
Taught me so much.
Well, let me do my set. I'm going to ask you about that first step into management. Shall we go a little bit more?
What, this is PB times, isn't it, yeah? What are you thinking? Because that looks like a lot more things to do.
5.
It's 5, yeah?
Yeah, put 5 on.
Yeah, man. Nice and tight.
2. This is that natural sprinter strength. Easy. I'll go back to 145.
Cool.
So I actually didn't know you led teams at Virgin. So you led teams at Virgin, you led a team at Pure Gym.
Yep.
But he's quite young.
Yes.
How did you find the first step into management?
Being a young leader is quite difficult. Sometimes you feel like you have to be someone else. Authoritarian, really strict on certain things. So people really don't take the mick out of you. And in actual fact, a lot of the studies actually show that's the correct way to be. But at that time, I wanted everyone to be my friend. I wanted to be the good boss.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not here to tell me what to do. And in hindsight, sometimes I wish I actually did. My most successful teams actually earned that right to be trusted, to get on with their job. But early doors, you do have to set your stall out. You need to let people know that you're there for a reason. Nothing to do with your age or anything else. It's your ability. It's what you're able to do. And I learned one of my best leadership lessons there from my coaches in athletics. My coach will never be able to run faster than me, can never lift more weights than me. But my coach was there to make my job easier. My coach was there to open up pathways, make me stronger, make me faster with their knowledge, and let me go and do the work. That's the job of a leader.
That's a good lesson for me because I'm just starting to lead teams myself as well.
Yeah.
And I think from being an individual contributor and doing well as well, you feel that it's hard to switch from other people being important, isn't it, from yourself?
Absolutely.
But I have heard that a lot. Put your team first. Gary Vee talks about it a lot. He's like, what's his quote now? I can't remember his quote, but basically he's saying it's not about you, it's about them. Yeah, and it's the same with Simon Sinek.
Always is, man.
Yeah.
Always is. I'm not too sure how many people want to work for a leader who feels they're in it for themselves. Because ultimately, when the chips are down and you need that discretionary effort from your people on your team, I'm more likely to do it for the leader who's going to do it for me.
Of course.
Than someone who's going to sit there and
It's like when they say with football, and the players want to run through brick walls from, but then the manager lost the dressing room.
It's over.
And
It's over.
Yeah.
2, 3.
So you've obviously gone from gym membership sales, then you've ended up in software.
Yeah.
Tell me how that happened and how you navigated that move into SaaS.
So when I was at Virgin, the national sales director moved to a new tech firm. He'd been there for a year or so, and he was kind of redeveloping that team and changing it around. And of course, being so successful in gym sales, my reputation was pretty solid. Done really well at Pure Gym. And he reached out and said, I've got a new role and I've got a new thing going on over here. I'd be really encouraged if you came across and had a look at it. He gave me this role that just gave me the ability to really push forward in some of the abilities I'd grown into. And we changed the game essentially into what our organization was able to do up until very recently.
That's perfect. Before we get into Reward Gateway, which you just touched on, you obviously had all this experience. How do you think that set you up for moving into software? Do you feel like it did set a foundation?
It did. Tech, software, it's such a fast-moving industry. Constantly changing, super competitive, always need to know what your competitors are doing, always need to be learning the new techniques, the new ways of working. When you're in sport, it's the same thing. If you rest on your laurels, or you do what you've always done, you're never gonna win. So sport, athletics in particular, really set me up to know I have to go, have to be on it. And if you're around me, you gotta be on it too. Because if we foul, it's on all of us.
Yeah. I feel like, because I think a lot of people think they need to get into software straight away to have a career in tech, right? But I feel, especially when I've recruited on roles, some sales leaders, they want software sales experience, that's all they want, right? But I feel like good leaders are open to taking someone who hasn't got the tech sales experience, but has the characteristics to be coachable and transferable skills, right? So I think working in gym sales, which was probably tough, was it hard? Not tough for you.
It was right for me. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Gym's a luxury,
you
know? Only certain people can afford a gym.
Yeah.
So to have to sell that over your gas bill, your water bill, all these other things you're going on in life. It's a tough gig.
It's the first thing people cut. Yeah.
Go on.
So it's not that, it's not crucial. It's a nice to have, I've got to say, in our industry. Yeah.
Perfect. But so is a lot of tech.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tech. People buy tech these days. They don't realize in their tech stack, they've probably got something else that can probably do the job of the same thing they're looking for today.
Yeah.
So the transition of going from those gym sales, learning those skills, learning the relationship, the consultative, imagine consultative in gyms, you had to do it, all right? But taking all that with you was incredible. And you mentioned the word transferable skills. Leaders miss out on so much talent because they're not open to the fact that there is transferable skills. And that comes from a lot of leaders that have actually just grown up in their own tech world.
Yes.
It's what they know.
Yep,
it's what I've done. It's what I've seen. When in actual fact, you've got a gent here who didn't come from that world, has cut his teeth on a few different areas and realizes, you know what, no, you over there or you over there, you've got something that's amazing and you've got an ability. You may even be, you ever met those people that are on the side of the tubes when they're selling charity programs and they're trying to get people to sign up? What a disheartening job.
Listen, I want to hire someone like that.
There you go.
There's people in Manchester always selling outside of Selfridges. People watching from Manchester probably sick of those guys. But I always think these guys get rejection minute after minute, second after second, you know?
Still there.
Still there.
Still there. Articulate, smart.
They'll probably find recruitment or tech sales easy.
Well, they probably would better, easier than I found it. But genuinely, those are the types of individuals, those types of people, all my best salespeople, all my best SDRs, my best consultants, AEs, whatever you want to call them, they've always come from a varied background. Yeah. And they've got something about them that just makes them who they are.
Yeah. So your first role at Reward Gateway actually wasn't sales.
No, it wasn't.
Researcher position. So, and when we spoke previously, you said Aaron Ross's book, Predictable Revenue, played a big role in your day-to-day in that position. Yeah. Why?
I moved to Reward Gateway with this sales leader of old, and he took the BDM role, the sales role, split into three. The first role was a researcher. Survey the market, find buyers, companies who are more likely to buy your solution. The SDR, which we know today. Get on the phone, call, create pipeline. And then the consultant role, your atypical AE, go and sell, demo, board pitch, go for it. They wanted me, they said I could do any of the roles, which was actually a huge compliment from them. But they really wanted me to try and take on this researcher role. And at the time I was like, what's this? You know, you're not putting the wool over my eyes here, but they wasn't. They gave me complete autonomy to build and grow it. And what I was able to do is really delve into the client list, the client base, our buyer behavior, market research. I took it serious, as you would do from my track days. I was able to build and scale a team. I took an organization that was predominantly, and I say predominantly, almost exclusively inbound. And took it to a place where the inbound also grew, but the outbound took over the inbound. We made our revenue predictable. We got new buyers, new organizations, and we scaled and grew that company to what it is today, which we'll go into a little bit more.
Yeah, so you really own that position, the same way someone was owning the SDR position. And
yes.
Yeah. Cool. Last set.
Let's do it.
Before we go into the bench press, you spent 10 years. Was it 10 years?
Yeah, 9 years and 11 months.
10 years at Reward Gateway.
Yeah.
5 different leadership titles in that time.
Yeah.
How did you maintain consistency over that time? And what advice would you have for other leaders who want to replicate something similar in their journeys?
Firstly, you actually need the luck of a great organization. Yeah, you need it. I have enough humility to realize that the things I did, I was empowered by the people and company I was with. Not everyone has that experience. There's a way people can get that by being very deliberate in their choices where they go, but I was very fortunate. And I'm forever eternally grateful for that. So yeah, 5 leadership roles, probably about 9 roles as well in that time. And I was always just given the autonomy to get on with my job. Whether it was the senior execs, whether it was the CEO relationships I had, or whether it was even the private equity firms who quite naturally like to have a bit of control. They poured money in. I was always just left to get on with what I knew I could do. And because I did that, and I did it with the intentions of providing the best environment for my people so they could succeed, everything just kept on going north. And the better I did, the more advocates you have. When people realize you're not doing it for selfish reasons, sounds crazy. I didn't really care about my pay. I wasn't paid a king's ransom. It was normal, even below market value. Sometimes.
Is that because you felt like part of the business? It wasn't.
I felt like I was part of the business.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in it. But again, I was very lucky that this is an organization that gave employees equity. So as an employee at the time, you had a part of the business. So you owned it. Don't get me wrong, you probably did well, saving a few pennies on here and there on salaries. But at the end of the day, you felt indebted, you felt connected, engaged to be part of the business. And over that 10 years, I was very fortunate to have 3 different exits as I was part of the organization. And as you said, I became more senior each time, which means my equity stake got bigger every single time. My performance was great, so I was also gifted and rewarded for that.
What were you doing though for performance to be so well? Because you progressed so many times, you must have been doing something right. So what is that? I'm trying to understand what that is.
Listen. I try not to talk too much. It may not seem like but I don't talk a lot. I'm actually one of the most quietest people you'll be around. But what I did do is I made sure that I listened and I saw and I moved barriers out of the way for my team. So you got economic downturns, you had COVID, you had horrible things that had happened during this time. But every single moment, my ear was to the ground of how my team felt and what the market was saying. So I'm able to pivot, I'm able to move. My ear was always everywhere. And that allowed me to make sure that my teams were always in pole position to take advantage of anything that went on in the market. And we took the organization from a company that was worth 25.5 million when I arrived to 1.15 billion last year. The first HR tech unicorn in Europe. And because I've worked so hard and I put myself in such a great position over these years, my equity stake moved forward with that over those transitions. And it's a very, very fortunate, very lucky to be in that position, but also quite deliberate in the way that I went about my ways.
Yeah, that's a mad journey, man. Right, Lou, being one of the original members of Black Tech Sales Network, I had to ask you about this topic because it's an important one for me. I imagine it's an important one for you and a lot of people watching. How does it make you feel about being one of the very few black sales leaders in software?
One thing I've always encouraged people to do is just be the best version of yourself and go where you're welcome. Go where people understand who you are. And this is the whole thing around choosing the organization. If I'm looking to become a sales leader, or I want to do something amazing in my career, I'm going to look for people potentially might look like me or have been through my own experiences. I grew up in Chinkford Hall Estate. For anyone that knows, it's called the Ends. It's a different place. It's the people where I'm come from shouldn't be doing the things I'm doing today. So I'm eternally grateful, but I also recognize that I didn't just grow up with black people on that estate. I grew up with Irish. I grew up with some working class white lads and girls. I grew up with some people that have really been through it, and we've got some shared experiences that they would understand and they would know. So again, I do get funny with the race thing because I just want us to all elevate each other in this. But for my black people like myself, and people who look like myself, my black entrepreneurs, my black people that want to really get into this tech world, look around you. Be really deliberate with the choices you make. Look for leaders, look for organizations who can understand your journey and will take you on that journey because you have unbelievable skills and talents that they will benefit from as well as you will. So it's a really important one.
I'll go for 5.
Yeah.
Don't touch the bar unless I scream.
Unless it's going down, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
3, 2, 1, up.
All yours.
One more.
Let's go. 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 Hey.
Four. Is that 4? 5. Yes, what do you think about when people say, as a black sales leader, you have to leave the ladder down for others? What do you think about that term?
Yeah, it's sick. It's such an important term. Like, the amount of leaders, black and white, and everything else that I see get to a certain position and then pull it up quickly. And they might not even know they're intentionally doing that. They may just be completely away from their mindset, but essentially, that ladder must stay down. Because there is a whole generation, a whole group of people that want to do what you are doing. And they see you as a beacon of hope, ambition. Leave it down. Be very open for conversation, be very open for network. My brother-in-law, he's the CEO of a charity. He leaves his ladder down all the time. Just to inspire and let the next generation know that this is achievable. And I spoke about equity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I want the next generation to be able to take advantage of the things I took advantage of. But that ladder must stay down so everyone else can be part of this game. There's so many fish in this barrel, and people think, oh, if I take this fish and no, there's enough for everyone to eat. Everyone can eat.
Yeah.
So let's eat together. And you know what? You feel so much better about yourself as well when you give an opportunity to someone that may never have had that before.
Yeah.
It's called paying it forward. People pay things forward. Always support people in your network. And you know what? You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the wider good.
Yes.
And it always works out in the end.
Yeah.
So I'm super passionate about that.
Would you say previously you had people from underrepresented backgrounds not leaving the ladder down? Do you feel like that was something that you saw before and maybe you've seen it less now?
I just think the opportunities were different then. There was less.
Okay.
There was less. And then
So do you feel like they was feeling challenged maybe that someone's going to take their food?
Someone take the spot.
Yeah.
But no one's come for the spot. Right? There's many spots around. And I think there's also another thing to be said around just the timelines of the black experience in the UK. Very rarely do you go to a predominantly one race nation and you arrive at the top of the ladder. Very few times. And for the black Caribbean experience and the black African experience, a lot of the times it starts at the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah.
It's very natural that last 40, 50 years, you've now started to see the emergence of the middle class. You've seen some people even in higher society now, right? That's a very natural occurrence over time. So it's one of those things I guess we just had to give some time.
Yeah.
But the more and more we see now, we've got all these young, talented individuals from all walks of life. There's more of that demographic now.
Yeah,
There's more of those people, so representation is only going to grow. So it's the responsibility of those before them to leave that ladder down, to show them the ropes.
Sure. Cool. Next step.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's easy. 2, 3, 4. What would you say other underrepresented salespeople, or anyone actually, could look for to choose the right business when interviewing or speaking to sales leaders or hiring managers?
For individuals who want to go on this journey of equity or company ownership and all the rest of it, do your research. And one thing I always said to people that joined me on the journey at Reward Gateway was the successful track history the organization had in the way that it paid and recognized its employees. Glassdoor, people talk about it. Do you actually use it? Do you read the content? Is the CEO engaging with the content themselves on the website? Little things like that, you can start to get a sense of things. Talking to people, is your company part of an equity scheme? Because if they are, then that's amazing. But also be careful, because a lot of companies know that trick and they will tell you all the things, we got an equity scheme and la. Okay, what's your track record of paying your employees?
Yeah.
When you changed hands before, was it the top tier that got paid and everyone else just got pizza slices and a bit of beer? What actually happened? These are really crucial things to make sure you're paying attention and choosing the right organization. On top of leadership, I can't begin to emphasize how important it is to have the right leadership in an organization, because you have amazing people, great product, all the rest of it. If the leadership is not on song or not in alignment with what the organization needs to do, you're fighting a losing battle. You'll be out of there within 6 to 12 months because it's just gonna be a nightmare. So be really deliberate in the choices and things you're looking for.
So what 3 things, if you were an account executive now, and you was interviewing with a business, but you wanted to go through that journey of gaining equity, what 3 questions would you be asking in an interview?
It's simple, man. First things first, I'm actually not gonna ask them straight away. I'm actually gonna go to the employees first and foremost. I'm always going to look around and I'm going to find out from an employee's point of view of how are they enjoying this organization. I'll do all my research and all my work and I'll go straight for the employees, ask them their experience, what they think about the organization. And you know what's really funny about people? They like to talk about themselves. They love it. They love it. So if you're interested in an organization, you see some good signs, go and reach out for that person first.
So go speak to employees.
Go and speak to the people that work on the ground floor. Understand it.
What would you do? What would you ask next?
I would ask them, listen, how did you get into this? How do you find this organization? What's it been like over the last year? We'd just love to just get you here for 15 minutes.
So that's what you'd ask the people at work?
Straight to people at work.
What would you ask the people you're interviewing with, the hiring managers?
So the hiring managers now, you've got to be careful with this one because they're going to try and think about your intentions of what you're actually here to do. Essentially, if I'm a recruiter, I'm a leader, I want to make sure this person's actually coming to work for me and they're really, really focused. If they're coming banging on about equity and all the rest of it.
That's true.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know about how I feel about you. It's punchy, but I don't know how I feel about you. So you've got to be careful. But they show a keen interest. But what I said earlier is you've already spoken to someone in the organization. So how you could flip that is I've had some really great conversations with X. You know, they spoke about all the great ways in which you do this and that. They even spoke about the way that you reward and give equity to your employees. So one thing I'd love to understand is how that kind of works in an organization like this.
Yeah.
So rather than you coming in all punchy, I've done my research, I've shown them about it a little bit, I've third-party referenced someone else's name here. Now we can have a little bit of a chat. It's a really important one.
And then one more, what else would you be looking to figure out?
Back to what I said actually, it's the track record thing. I know to speak to the person, but the track record is so important because so many companies keep on pitching on about equity and shares and this and that. You actually really, really need to delve down and kind of focus on the first one still, but I want to make it a single point because you really need to understand this bit. Don't get trapped and think, okay, I've been given these 3,000 C-class shares or these 4,000 E, like, what does that actually mean? And I'm being deadly serious on this. People need to really delve into that information. If you want to get into the equity game, you want to be part of a company's share scheme and the rest of it, truly understand what that means for you going forward. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, okay. One more set.
Let's go. Bang. Let's go.
3, 4, 5, 7.
For the strength.
How important has this been to you and still in terms of, obviously, athletics career is over, unfortunately, sorry to remind you, but you still train hard, right?
You know what, it's so interesting. Health and wellness, it has to be the most important thing. So I was in this position where I'm working so hard. I've gone through difficulties in my athletics career, had to be resilient there. Have personal things happen in life, changes the game. And my priority number one always just became my son, right? But what I didn't pay attention to was how important my health and wellness was in that. I took it for granted. And I got into a position where I was working so hard, pushing so hard at work as well, that my wellness became second thought.
Yeah.
Work, son, work, son, work, son. And I put on the pounds, put on the weight, you know, got massive. And to the point where I was about 27.9% body fat, 108 kg. I was a chunky boy. I got a PT, his name's Tom. I'll shout him out because he's incredible. And Tom and I just got to work, And 6 months, I went from 108 kg down to 85 kg.
Wow.
I'm not 85 kg now, but we got down.
Yeah.
I'll send you a picture actually.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Like, we did the work down to 10% body fat. But what was really interesting on that journey is not all the physical benefits I got, which there was obviously notable physical benefits, it was the mental clarity I got too. I was making smarter, better, quicker decisions.
Yeah.
I was able to be more present, not only for my son, but for my friends, for everyone around me, for my employees. I was just in a better zone, better place. And you can't underestimate how important wellness is to you being the best version of yourself. So many people put it on the back burner and the rest of it. Absolutely not. It needs to be priority number one. Yeah. Because if you're not right within yourself, you can't be right for anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think people neglect it. This is why I wanted to do this video series, because you can combine the two. Absolutely. You know, you can still be very fit and you can still be successful in sales as well. So, yeah. Well, look, let's go into the WOD. Right, Lou, you benched 100 kg, you've deadlifted 225,
I don't even know.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then you've just got a nice sweat on there. The last thing for you to do is the 30-second max cal ski. This is your chance to go to the top of the leaderboard. You've got to beat Andy, who's at 12. I think you got it in you.
This is the one that scares me.
Yeah. Give it everything you've got.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Let's get to the top of the leaderboard, yeah? You're an athlete, so, you know, I'm thinking.
Don't give me all that.
You got to get to the top.
Oh, no.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Yes, Lou. Keep that up. 20 seconds. Yes, Lou, come on. Easy, come on. 10. Yes, you got 10 seconds. Come on, that's 12 counts. 13. Come on, Lou. Come on, come on, come on. Come Come on, push, push, push. 17.
Don't ever let me do that again. Oh.
17. That's good. That's going to take some beating, I think. Yes, Lou, so how'd you find that?
Easy.
That's a good score. That's a good score. And I was impressed by the deadlifts. But no, I think that's a really good episode. I'm happy you've come on because I think when there's something I haven't told you actually. When I first ever spoke to you, was when I think I first set Black Tech Sales Network up, and I had a conversation with you. I know you were the first black sales leader I spoke to, and you came on with your hat backwards like that, and you were just talking very natural, and it made me feel I don't have to be someone else, basically, if I'm going to be successful in this industry. Because you just was very authentic, and it inspired me. So I never actually told you that, and I meant to tell you earlier. So I've been excited to get you on. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
No, I love that. I'm inspired by everything you do. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Good luck in the new role. I'm sure you're going to smash it.
Hopefully.
But yeah, we'll speak soon, yeah?
Good man, thank you now.
Cheers, Lou. Thank you.